welcome to From the Shed End podcast. As always, thank you for joining me. I can't remember what episode this is. It's late. Well, I am anyway. Obviously, I'm joined with Guni, Man Knows Football. How you doing, Guni? What you saying?
Yeah, man, I'm all good. Just trying to get through this busy Christmas period and just trying to survive what I'm seeing from Chelsea Football Club, my guy.
Listen, it's a bit mad. It's a bit mad right now, to be fair. But before we get into that, obviously, everyone who's listening or watching, we appreciate everyone who's subscribed to the channel already. Anyone that isn't subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and follow our socials as well. All on the links in the description as well. So make sure you click the links, all of that stuff, man. We appreciate everyone. We've got a competition still running on our Instagram as well for hitting 2,000 followers. So make sure, again, you go and check that out as well. But yeah, man, let's get straight into it, Guni, because it's been a bit of an iffy one for us. Obviously, we went into December. We had 4 games. I think we had a game every 4 days in December. That's coming to an end very soon. But talk to me, because obviously we drew against Burnley. We nearly lose to Watford. We played brilliant against Juventus. Zenit was a bit of a mad game as well. Talk to me. What's happened to us at the moment?
Bruv, I think the obvious thing here is injuries. Injuries have completely decimated us. Since losing Ben Chilwell, that left side has becoming more increasingly vulnerable, especially from the fact that Kante and Kovacic ain't been available for selection. And with them two not being in, it just, that protection on that left side is basically non-existent, because Jorginho, we know, hasn't got the legs. Loftus-Cheek, as we know, I feel like Loftus-Cheek isn't at 100% and hasn't been playing at 100% for a little bit. That's just my suspicion anyway. So when you don't have that kind of tenacity and that dynamicness in that midfield, you're gonna suffer, and that suffering is lack of protection from protecting your defense, or even going the other way. You know, making the transitions to make attacks. But to me, this is also, the board can't get away with this, because this is a massive reflection of our summer. To a lot of us, the signing of Lukaku, right, it papered over the cracks. But if you look at the players that we were supposed to sign, yeah, Hakimi was a red hot one. We were supposed to sign him. Now, in hindsight, you see, before we were saying, oh, we've got Reece James, we don't need him. Now, Hakimi can play both left and right. You get me? So we did need Hakimi. And then there was obviously the Spinazzola guy from Italy, but he got that injury in the tournament that's just kept him out. So I don't think that's happening. So what I'm saying is that poor recruitment in the summer has also been a contributing factor to this.
It's true, man. It's true. When you look back on it now, obviously Hakimi is probably the one that stands out. But I'll be honest, Guni. I said when the season started, obviously even with or without Lukaku, and I still think this, I'm still going to back what I'm going to say, because I think we've still got the players that we need to be competing. If I'm honest, I think looking back, the Saul Niguez one looks a bit of a madness. I think we should have potentially kept Billy Gilmore, Connor Gallagher. Looks like Ross Barkley might be on his way out come January in a couple of weeks as well. So you're looking back on that now and you're thinking to yourself, should we have kept Billy Gilmore or Connor Gallagher? Would you have kept one of them two? And look, obviously hindsight is beautiful. We can talk about it now, but obviously when Saul Niguez signed, me included, I was definitely looking forward to seeing him play, but he just doesn't seem to be fitting into what Thomas Tuchel's wanting him to do at the moment.
I mean, in the case of Saul, at first I was willing to give him a couple of run of games, a couple of months to acclimatize to the Premier League and to the country and his surroundings. But it's been a few months now, and this is the only game where I've actually seen him get the bare basics right. And I said in my preview, and I was being generous by saying this, that my post-match, I was being generous by saying Saul had a good game when he really didn't. Or like, he made a couple of mistakes. There was one that I remember that might have even cost us a goal. It's just, that's the first time in the Chelsea shirt I've actually seen him have a first touch, play the ball and make a couple of right decisions and just make some progressive passes forward without losing the ball. And it's just not good enough. And in terms of Billy Gilmore, in hindsight, yes, Billy could have stayed, because we've seen him time and time again come into that first team and show that he's more than capable of playing with the others. I've seen him have man of the match performances against the best Liverpool squad that they've seen for decades. Do you know what I mean? So why is he not ready to sort of join into the fold? But again, it's a case of he's going to need more minutes. And if he feels like he's going to get more minutes elsewhere, hence the move to Norwich, then it would make sense. But look at what's happened with Norwich. In the case of Connor Gallagher, though, it's a different story. With that one, it was more of an unknown element from the fact that, well, at least in my perspective, that we haven't seen him have enough run of games in that first team to be able to definitively say that he should have stayed. This is a case of a right loan move with the correct with the correct coaches at Crystal Palace, who are also willing to give a loanee player the chance to become the star man, the key man that they base their football around, which is a very rare thing to see. So we struck gold in terms of that loan move there. So had he had stayed at the club, would we have seen the same progression from him as what we're seeing now with him at Palace? It remains to be seen. Me personally, I doubt it, because it wouldn't have been given the minutes, nor would he have been the focal point of this Chelsea team. So keep him where I think we should keep him where he is, to be honest.
I think with Connor Gallagher, I've got a funny feeling he's not coming back. I think he's too good to be playing sort of a Ross Barkley role or do you know what I mean? I think he's good enough to be a first team. If he comes back, I think he's coming back with the intention to take someone out of that team that's in there at the moment. If I'm honest, I think he's that good. If he's not walking into the Chelsea team, he needs to go elsewhere and get that football. And I think Palace will put a bid in. I think they'll put a decent bid in. We've seen it before with Tomori, other players that even looking at Tammy now. You think about how he's doing in Italy as well. We've seen it, man. I think he could go. I think. What do you think? Do you think that's a possibility that potentially Palace come in or someone like that comes in for him?
You know what? I did say a few weeks ago that as good as Connor Gallagher's been, there's a very, very high chance that he might not play for Chelsea. So I do kind of agree with you with what you're saying. But now that we fast forward into this time, because imagine a lot has gone on from the past 4 weeks for Chelsea Football Club. We've gone from up here all the way to like where we are now. So things happen quickly in football. So that's made me think, right? Why would we get rid of Connor Gallagher now when we can see Ruben Loftus-Cheek? We can't look. I'm talking in terms of in the relation to what we're aiming for, what we want to win. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Jorginho, the collective of this current midfield that we have is not cutting it. Now I put Jorginho in there because listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, 1000% honest. I don't think he's a terrible player. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a world-class player. Now, if we're talking about competing on all fronts every single season, you need that. You need depth. You need quality in depth. Jorginho is a regular first team player for Chelsea Football Club when I feel that there should be a better quality midfielder starting there. So Kovacic or a Kante, even let's look at it for what it is. If we look at Connor Gallagher and Jorginho now, understandable, they're two different players with two different qualities. But when you really look at it, who do you think would contribute more to this squad, to this team right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
Connor.
I'm not going to lie to you. I have to agree. Connor. I have to agree. Because what Connor Gallagher also adds, which we don't have in our midfield from nobody, is goals. Outside the box, inside the box.
Facts.
And creating them. So
Facts.
we missed that. Look, I'm gonna get, listen, I might get hounded and terrored for what I said about Jorginho, because like there's a lot of people in the fan base that swear by him. And again, it's like I'm saying, I don't think he's a terrible player, but like I think we need to be working with better quality. We need to be scouting much better quality. We need to be scouting players that are in and around the quality of like your Paul Pogba's and your Bruno and your Bernardo Silvas and that. Are you putting Jorginho in that category? That's what I'm trying to say. So that's the ambition that I feel Chelsea Football Club need to have, because right now it's about quality and depth, because Man City and Liverpool also have two things that we will never have in the immediate time, which is the fact that both teams, both coaches have had their own team for about 3 or 4 years running.
It's true. 100% that's true. It's true, man. But talk to me about Wolves, because I thought they played very well in terms of what, going back to some of the other games where we drew or we nearly lost, like I said, to Watford. But thinking back to that Everton game as well, how Everton set up, and the way that they frustrated us. We couldn't unlock the defense. That it was just a frustrating game. I seen signs that was what we were going to be up against again against Wolves, in terms of it was just a frustrating game. The first half for me, I don't know what was going on. We were mispassing the ball. Aspilicueta looked sluggish. Whether it's just fatigue, I don't know, but something just doesn't seem right again with this team. Like there's signs where I think Reece James is trying to flag down Tuchel, get his attention, ask him what he needs. It just seems disjointed at the moment. It seems like something's going on, maybe behind the scenes, as well as the fact that obviously these contract situations still aren't sorted as well. So what did you take of the game in terms of the way Wolves played and how we played against them as well?
Well, I'll start with this. I went into that game not confident of getting 3 points. Absolutely not. So to come away with a point from there, I think this is in relation to where we are with all things considered, because you got to put things in context. It was a good point, because we could have come away from that with 0 points. Had Jimenez had a bit of awareness about him and held the offside line and not interfered with play, then it would have been 1-0. And do you see us getting a goal from anywhere from the way we played? Even though we improved massively in the second half, did you still see us scoring?
Nah,
exactly. That's my point. But Wolves, listen, with them and Bruno Lage, because in the first 5 or so minutes, we actually had an early chance, quite similar to the Everton game. But after those 5 or so minutes, I knew Bruno Lage was not just going to sit back, especially at the Molineux, and just have this when Chelsea are, teams are opening Chelsea up. And they've got the players to do that. They've got Podence. They got Adama Traore, who came on later, Moutinho, Jimenez, you name it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So all things considered, it was a good point. And then all of this, you see the symptoms of, not stringing passes together, positionally not being aware, and just these things. This comes with not having consistency within the squad in terms of the same faces week in, week out, because you got to understand, it's like these guys they're not playing with the same guys every week. And in some cases, you're playing 2 or 3 games a week and you're playing with different faces altogether. So, and sometimes on a different week, the job that you're being asked to do might be different from the last. Like look at Trevor, for example. The guy's been playing centre back all season, right? And he was played midfield this game. But the good thing is with Trevor is that his previous loan over in France, he was playing in the midfield. So he can do that. But this is levels now. This is Chelsea Football Club in the Premier League. So there are things that a lot of players are just thrown into the deep end, and and the fans, the way it is with us, we expect them to just swim. It's not as realistic as that. You need consistency to be seeing results. When we had our run and when we're not conceding goals, we had our main guys in the squad. You had your Kantes, you had your Kovacic, you had your Rudigers, Thiago Silvas, and your Ben Chilwells. When you got that consistency and you trust your teammates around you, these mistakes don't happen.
I agree 100%. All of that, what you're saying is truth. Because if you think about even the fact of having to play Chalobah in midfield, and you've got midfielders on your bench, in terms of, obviously, I don't know if we can call Saul Niguez a midfielder. I don't know what his role is, but in terms of Barkley, for instance, he's on the bench. So it tells you that Thomas Tuchel trusts Chalobah to put him in that position. He's obviously seen something on the training ground as well. But I agree with you. I think a lot of it is down to injuries. I think a lot of it is in terms of the inconsistencies. I think it didn't help the fact that we hardly had any players on the bench. I'll be honest. I don't want to use that as an excuse, because I don't do that. But in terms of the fact that the game wasn't postponed, and you look at other teams, other games, other matches that have had that postponement agreed, put in, we had to put out a team, and I think we had 2 goalkeepers in Bentonelli, Kepa. We had Malang Sarr, trying to think now really quick. We had Malang Sarr, Barkley, and Saul Niguez, and that's it on the bench. So that isn't enough to yes, you've got an 11 that you can put out there, but if you want to swap things around, your option is basically bring on Saul Niguez and hope that he plays half decent, which I'm not saying he played better than he did in his previous games that he started. I think that's the credit that we can give him, but to say that he played amazing or he played really well, it's
just not to a standard of Chelsea Football Club. That's the point.
This is it.
We're just like us saying that it's a good game is, again, it's in context to what we've seen from him. Although it was a good game for what we've seen from him, but in terms of the quality that we need, it's not it.
It's not it. It's not it. And if I'm honest, I think as Chelsea fans, we have to admit sometimes we don't always get the deals right. We don't always get the right players in. And this is one of these very moments now where we're looking at him now. It isn't working. I'll be very surprised if he's here come end of the season. I think he'll go back. He'll get recalled.
Highly doubt it.
I can't see him staying, to be fair. But in terms of Wolves, they played well. I think then Donga had a very, very good chance. He had a free header. He should be putting that away. But yeah, I just think in terms of I think Ben Chilwell is going to be a massive. Personally, I don't think he's coming back. I don't think he's going to be back in time for the. Even if he comes back, you're talking about Ben Chilwell, who's got to get back to full fitness, the rehabilitation in terms of those kind of injuries as well.
Yeah,
you probably won't really see the Ben Chilwell that we saw at the start of this season coming into this second half of the season now, in my opinion.
I mean, the Chilwell situation, we still have to sort of be mindful of that, because just because he's training on grass and he's, running up and down, well, when he got that injury, that was part of the program anyway, because the diagnosis was it was ligament damage, but the ligament hadn't snapped or ruptured or something like that.
Yeah, it was partial.
It was partial. So that means he can still walk around and do his day-to-day thing. But it's just when you put stress on your joints is where the test comes. So right now, what they're trying to see is how well balanced he is on that knee, because with an injury like that, and when your ligaments weaken, you lose strength. So that's where your balance has to be tested. And if it's not quite up to scratch, or if he's feeling a bit of discomfort, then he's going to have to get that surgery. But the more days that do go on and we don't hear news about surgery, the better. So we still have to see with that situation.
But I think Thomas Tuchel is going to give us the update in a few weeks, because he's got the assessment, I think, the first week in January. But I want to ask you a question around that situation, because obviously on here, I think Theo and Haydar both said that they would either deal with Alonso as the main left back and then have Aspie as the backup. I said before we were linked with Luca Dean, I said about bringing Ian Maatsen back from Coventry.
We have to.
Because I think he's a natural left back. He's left footed. He plays there for Coventry. He's doing very well or Emerson. But I think the expectation for Maatsen was that he's not going to play every game. So I think if we bring him back with the expectation he's going to come and play the odd Premier League game, if we get through to the Carabao Cup the next round, he might play in that game as well. FA Cup kind of games, he might play them games. But what would you do? Because obviously we've been linked with Luca Dean as well. So Luca Dean looks like he's definitely leaving Everton. It looks like we're looking to try and get him. Would you take that as your first option, or would you look at what we've got in the squad already?
Right now, I'd be trying to buy Luca Dean. I'm not gonna lie to you. With Maatsen, yes, I would like to see him back at the club, but if there's an alternative ahead of him because of his age, and I don't like to sort of halt his development where he is. Do you know what I mean? I'm never a fan of pulling players who are doing well at loan clubs, especially at that age. I'm never a fan of that. So I'd rather he does stay at Coventry. But if it's like, I only agree when it's desperate times calling for desperate measures. That's when I'll say, okay, come and get him back. But Luca Digne is a no-brainer for me. If he's available now, he doesn't want to play for Everton. It's a very public bust-up that he's had with Benitez, and Everton aren't exactly doing their best right now. And it's a vulnerable time. And Chelsea, we're a very opportunistic club. When these things start to happen, or when they start to rear their heads, Chelsea like to capitalize on the opportunity. So I'd definitely be looking at that. Luca Digne, I can imagine us getting in between. Don't be surprised if we get in between like 25, 35 M's. Don't be surprised.
But I think that's a good deal, though. I think that would be a very good deal to get him for that price as well.
How old is he?
He's 28. He's 28. So
yeah, you see, that's prime years.
Yeah.
So it would make sense. It might go down as a very popular January signing, but then as the long-term option, is he it? That's my thing. Is he it? I think he's a very good left back. I won't front to you. I think he's very good going forward. But when we're talking stepping up to the Champions League and expectations of winning trophies and being part of that squad rotation and being called upon during periods like December, you get me, where you're going to have to play some of them tough games, bro. Is he going to be that guy?
See, this is why I still think Maatsen's the answer, because again, I think if Ben Chilwell does come back, he obviously needs to play this end of the season of some capacity.
Yeah.
but you've got to have the. For me personally, I wouldn't trust Aspilicueta there, and I think Ian Matson. I hear what you're saying about sort of pulling his development from Coventry. I get that, but I think desperate measures call for desperate times, and if we're looking at how desperate we are for a left back, for me, I'd bring back Matson for that period of the 4 or 5 months of the season that's left. Then I'd reevaluate in the summer and see who's available. Because I think what would happen is we bring in Luca Dino, and then come the summer, we want to bring in a proper left back. And when I say a proper, I mean a better quality left back. So what's the point in signing him for 5-6 months and then loaning him out? That's what we did that's what we've done with Emerson. We've got Emerson sitting there playing football, paying wages. We might as well just try and cover over another crack and push on in the summer.
You make a good point, but then my thing is what is the ambition for Chelsea this season? Because the title is, by each game that goes past, it's just looking more and more out of reach.
Would you say that we're still in it for now?
Mathematically, 100%, but ability wise, no. Well, yes and no. Let me be fair. Yes and no. Yes, if we got a full strength side and be going in without injuries, yes, I think we can still claw something back. I do think City will still drop points. Liverpool, they drop points against Tottenham. But it's possible, but it's a massive ask. I'm more looking towards February times when the Champions League knockout stages kick in, because that's going to be an interesting competition now. Because if now we've got our main hitters back and Ben Chilwell is back in that squad, or we have recruited properly in January, then that's a competition that we can win. You get me? Because our draw has been good. I mean, we drew Lille twice.
What's the odds on that though?
and watch this T.Dot, right? If we've got a full squad, remember I said this. If we've got a full squad, right? Whoever we face after Lille, I couldn't give a shit.
I said that before. I'll be real. I said even if we get Bayern Munich, we can't be champions of Europe and be scared of Bayern Munich.
Facts. And I actually think with a full strength Chelsea squad, I think that anything can happen in the Champions League, innit? Anything can happen.
That's it. That's all it is. When we beat Real Madrid, we beat Atletico Madrid, and then we beat City in the final, no one gave us a chance. When you think about it, because don't forget the week before or 2 weeks before, we lost to Leicester in the FA Cup. And if you remember, everyone was saying that we ain't going to beat City because we can't beat Leicester. So it doesn't, for me personally, we could get Bayern Munich and draw them out the first time, draw them out the second time and still smash them, and then get Lille and then lose to them. So it is what it is. You come across who you come across, you got to beat who's in front of you. So I think in terms of that, I just think, it's going to be obviously an easier run into the next round if we can beat Lille. But at the same time as well, if we get Bayern Munich or whoever we got, to me, it is what it is, if I'm honest. But I want to talk about COVID, because it seems to be the thing at the moment. There's been I think obviously before we talk about the COVID thing, I don't know if you've heard, but we've got a few youth players, or the development squad players have been introduced into the senior squad. I think more so for the Carabao Cup. Tuchel's potentially looking to try and rest some of the players if the Villa game goes ahead. I think on Boxing Day, I think is the next fixture.
It's not looking likely, is it? Do you know what? Being a Chelsea fan, we might literally be the only team forced to play that game. They might just drag Villa and be like,
drag us out anyway.
Chelsea, you got to play him. We don't like
six man on the pitch, but you still got to play. But I think it's interesting, because I think some of the names that have been mentioned is Josh Brooken, obviously Harvey Vale is in there as well, Alvy Gilchrist as well, Gilchrist.
I heard good things about him as well.
Yeah. So I think there's players that are coming in, because I think originally they wanted to keep the two squads separate to not compromise the two bubbles, but sometimes, like I just said, desperate measures call for desperate times. So what's your thoughts on that? Obviously, bringing in some of the youth, is this the opportunity to step up and?
Of course. I mean, of course. Listen, I don't want to refer to other teams in the Premier League, especially not Arsenal, because we've got two different.
We don't talk about the money.
Yeah, and we got different expectations between the two clubs. But when you've got nothing to lose, why not?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, Emil Smith Rowe, everyone said, including myself, he's not ready for the Prem. Look at him. He's doing all right. He's doing decent. He ain't world class. He's not one of the best. He's not one of the best of the best, but he's doing decent. So you've got to give these guys a chance. And then you've got guys like Harvey Vell, who we know like is a very talented guy. And it's not like we're playing with a full 11 of youth. They're playing amongst experience. This is their time to learn. They've got to grab this opportunity. And with the reputation that we've got at Cobham, they better take that opportunity because it's easy for us. Our scouting, what's Big Man's name? Head of youth development again.
There we go.
Neil Bath. You see him? That guy's a bad boy. When it comes to the top talent in London and that, he's like, yo, listen, I know what they are, I know who it is, and they're coming to Chelsea first and foremost. Everyone else, whoever we reject and release, they can go to Arsenal and Tottenham. And yeah, it's true though. Look, they got Eddie.
It's true.
Man took Eddie Nketiah for Christ's sake.
Yeah, it's true, man. Oh no, it's true. I think this is their opportunity. I'm not expecting them to come in and solidify a senior squad place at all. I don't think that's the expectation of them. I think what they're coming in to do is to give some of these players that are injured. Obviously, we're going to have some of them that will still be self-isolating, I think, when the Brentford game's taking place this week as well. But what would you do in terms of, obviously, it looks like hopefully, I say hopefully, but it looks like there's going to be a circuit breaker or whatever they call it. I'm not I don't really read much about COVID, but there's going to be some sort of pause in the season. Obviously today they've come out and said that they want to continue with it, but surely if there's more cases of COVID and whatnot, there's going to have to be some sort of break to allow for clubs to let their players self-isolate and then get back into the full swing of things. Do you agree with that? Do you think there needs to be a bit of a winter break or something this season?
With the quote unquote cases that we're seeing in football, I say quote unquote for reasons I won't explain on here. But if that's the case and lives are truly at risk at the level that they say it is, then it would make sense based on that principle of it being true. Do you know what I mean? So if that's the case and it's as bad as what they're saying it is, then I guess that's the only thing left to do. Do you know what I mean?
A no-brainer.
Yeah, nobody wants to see it happen. I don't want to see it happen, bro. But if it's about protecting human lives over football, then it makes sense, innit? You got to do it.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. And I know obviously when you go on socials and people are saying, oh, but you need the break, blah, blah, blah. It's not that, man. I think if you look at all the other clubs as well, I think pretty much maybe all the top 6 clubs at the current top 6 have had a game postponed. I think Bar City.
Yeah. And that's quite interesting actually, because Chelsea did put in a request before the who did we just play now? My memory's just gone.
Wolves.
Just like yeah. They tried to get the Wolves game cancelled. The Premier League denied them. I personally said after that, I thought that was a bit strange, and I thought, you know what, if the Premier League are going to do that, the least that they should do is give us a bit of transparency. So what is it about the other games that you cancelled? What was the criteria for them games to be cancelled? Was it a certain amount of players in the squad that contracted it? Was it a certain amount that are not vaccinated? All that. What is it? You've got to let the fans know.
Yeah.
It's
right, though, isn't it? It's true.
Yeah, you got to let the fans know. If you're saying no to others and yes to others, you've got to give us some transparency as to why. And that way, like it becomes a fair playing field.
Yeah, I think it's got to be that there needs to be a 2-week window just to allow clubs to sort of regroup, get their players back. Because who wants to watch a team where, and this isn't me talking from a Chelsea perspective either, but who wants to see a team where one team's got 4 players on the bench, 5 players on the bench, or they've got half their team out, and the other team's fully got their squad from first to 30.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Who wants to see that? You want to see a level playing field. You want to see the right kind of, do you know what I mean? The right level of footballers on the pitch. You don't want to be seeing a 50% N'Golo Kante or something like that, or Kovacic coming in although Kovacic played really well against Wolves, I have to say that, but you know what I mean? You want to see someone fully fit on the pitch rather than half, 50%.
Yeah, no, completely. So, I mean, if games are going to continue to be cancelled, then just go ahead and cancel it. My thing is that I just don't trust the fact it will be 2 weeks. I think they'll say it's 2 weeks at first, but they'll drag it.
Drag it out.
Yeah.
Could pause it. Well, you remember the last one? They paused it for what? About 2 months, a month, something like that.
So you see, and remember we was there. Well, over in the UK, you lot were told there like there wasn't going to be another lockdown. And
You
here
know
we
what I
are.
think. You know what I think already. But
Yeah, exactly. But here
yeah,
we are.
yeah, it's true. It's true, man. But quickly before we wrap up, we got Brentford in the week. Carabao Cup. Give me your thoughts really quickly. We should be beating them regardless of. I say we should, man. I keep saying this every week. I gotta stop saying it, but we should be beating them in
All
terms of
right,
what's at
it's
stake.
even more important now because we just need a win anywhere it gets,
Mm-hmm.
anywhere we can get it for confidence sake. In terms of the competition, the Carabao Cup, look, controversial. Some people don't like it, but me personally, I'm not really too fussed about what we do in that competition. If we're playing a squad of youngers from goalkeeper to striker, and then I would care because that's how I look at the competition. I'm not asked if we win it. I'm not asked if we don't. Some say you should respect a trophy. A trophy's a trophy, yes, but I believe there's bigger fish to fry. You get me? So I couldn't really care less, to be completely honest.
So what you're saying is you'd rather compensate coming out of this if it means that we ain't got to play another game. If it means, do you know what I mean? Is that what you're saying? That you'd rather, if it means we can go on and win the Premier League or we can win the Champions League.
Yeah,
If it means
I'd be
coming out
happy
of
to get
this,
out. Yeah,
of
I'd
course,
be happy
I
to
hear
go
you.
out. 100%.
Yeah.
It's not the be all and end all. But what I will say though is, you see the first round of dominance that Chelsea had. It was actually the League Cup. I believe that League Cup that we won was really the catalyst for everything. That taste of silverware for them youngsters. But we're in a different situation now. Your Mason Mounts and your Reece Jameses, they've touched Champions Leagues and that. So there's
It's
levels
different
to it.
now. It's different.
I'm sure for a collector's item they'd like to win it, but like they've got bigger things on their mind. The Prem and the Champions League are the things that this club wants.
Yeah, I think if we win, then obviously we win. But again, like you, I'm not really too concerned about it. I want to see us, if I'm honest, this year, and I've said it on here already before, so I can back up what I'm saying. But I want to win the Prem.
That's what I wanted
want.
the most. That's what I want the most, even more than the Champions League. I can't lie to you. As
Yeah.
much as I'd love, don't get it twisted. I'd go mental if we won the Champions League again, but I just want that Prem, bro.
Yeah, we want the Prem, man. And I think, if I'm honest, I think we're still, what are we, 6 points?
Yeah, we're
off
6
top?
points.
That's
Six-
2
six
games.
points off top.
We've still got some big games coming up. I think we got Liverpool the 2nd of January or something like that.
Yep.
That's a big game. We beat them. We're back on track. So
Is the AFCON going on?
we don't know. We don't know. This is another thing that's got to be decided. And if I'm honest, I can't see it going ahead because you got to think about all them bubbles. They're going to compromise the Premier League bubbles because when they come back, they're going to have to self-isolate then. So how does that work? I don't know. So for me, from a selfish point of view, I want it cancelled. If I'm honest, we don't want to be losing Mendy and then having to play Kepa, who's played very well under Tuchel, but
to rely on him week in, week out. Nah.
Yeah, it's not good, man. It's not good. So we'll have to see, man. I'm sure. I think that when is that? It's sometime in February, isn't it? Is it Jan or Feb?
What is
that African Cup of Nations?
No, it's January.
Oh, is it January? Oh yeah, because then the Club World Cup straight after.
It's in February. Yeah,
that's it. I keep getting confused with them too.
Now you see that one there. Yeah,
that's a must.
We have to.
That's a must. We got even if we sacrificed, because I think isn't that when the FA Cup's played at the same time, or have they moved it now? Because a couple of seasons ago, you had to choose to come out of one. You had to opt out of it.
Nah. We can still compete in this one.
We got Shrewsbury, I think, in the cup, so we'll have to see. But Guni, listen, tell the people where they can find you, all that stuff as well. Man Knows Football.
Yep, you can find me on the Man Knows Football YouTube channel. Just type it up there in the search, Man Knows Football, and you'll see it there. Mainly Chelsea content for now, but in fact, I ain't gonna lie. Right now, I'm in the process of like moving apartments, so my consistency has kind of been up and down. But once I get into the new apartment, internet will set up. going to be running lives consistently. Tuesdays, you'll find me on Lee Gunner's show. Well, that's tomorrow. I'm going to be on Lee Gunner's channel tomorrow. So definitely look out for that. We've got a live channel, me, Lee, Eunice, and Northside. So that's where you'll find me.
Is that regular? Is that regular
Every
weekly thing now?
Tuesday, yeah, every Tuesday.
Yeah, I'll drop the link in there as well in the description. So make sure you check in. Well, when this comes out, it will be Tuesday, I think. So yeah, make sure that you click on that link, follow them and all of that stuff. Man Knows Football as well. Make sure you definitely subscribe to that one because there's a lot of content on there. And yeah, you pushing it out a lot anyway, regardless of circumstances.
Yeah, I
You're
mean,
still pushing it.
Yeah, because when I don't do something for like a day or two, I get like it's mad because I get people that DM and just send me messages like, "Yo, we're waiting for your response on this."
I see the comments, man.
It's just like, why are you taking so long? And it's just like, it's crazy. It's an amazing feeling. It's a great feeling. I ain't gonna lie, because I never thought for a day when I started this, I never thought for a day I'd be getting messages like that. So I guess
it's nice to happen, man.
Right. Yeah, I guess we're doing something right over this side. You get me?
Yeah, 100%, man. But I appreciate you coming on. Obviously, I know you taking the time out and all of that stuff as well.
Nah, always, bro. Come on, you're my guy. Anytime you need me on the camera, I'm gonna jump on.
There. I hear that.
I'm always gonna do my best to jump on for you, my bro.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate that. But listen, everyone who's been listening and watching this as well, at the bottom of the screen, you can see the social accounts, but also make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. Can't stress that enough. We've got a couple of subscribers. We're getting a couple of views, but we need more. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. And as well, again, Guni, thank you for joining us. I forgot what episode this is. I still can't remember what episode it is, so I'm just going to leave that out for now. But yeah, thank you for listening or watching wherever you're doing it, on Apple or Spotify or YouTube. We'll be back next week as well. So thank you very much for watching. Until next time, stay safe.